Hey, what's up, YouTube? So, right now, we just had Xbox's CEO Asha Sharma come out and discuss what some thought was going to be one of the biggest changes in Xbox history. Yet, I have to think, I don't think this is as bad as everybody thought. I don't think this is the bloodbath everybody was saying it was going to happen, the Armageddon that was coming down upon Xbox. I truly think that Asha Sharma has completely changed Xbox, and when you look at the bad news that has been coming out, she's not having anyone report them. She's the one coming out and talking about it and posting about what she's saying to her employees and to the core fans. I'm going to get into every single thing because her Twitter post and her email to the fans and her employees, I'm not going to lie, seems pretty decent and actually makes me have a lot more hope for Xbox in such a terrible time. Let's get into all of it. All right, so thank you for being here, and you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you want to go the extra mile to support the channel, hit that little bell icon, or even join the channel. So we're just going to jump into this. For weeks and weeks, especially the last week, we already know that people have been kind of clamoring about Xbox, saying that they're going to have the biggest layoffs in their history, which is true. They're having a restructuring around Xbox, and studios were being threatened to be shut down. But that's not what's happening right now. In fact, we're just going to get into exactly what Asha Sharma is talking about and talking about how the portfolio needs to be changed, how Xbox's strategy needs to start, and how their reset is beginning today. Here's what's said. This is directly from the CEO. This is an important email I sent today to all employees at Xbox. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 2027. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today. In addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to do management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all of the necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, while others were recruited here or sought us out because they loved this industry and loved Xbox. Today's decision do not reflect their talent and dedication. Okay, number one, we'll stop there because there is a lot of information already there. So today, if you realize that it's about 1,600 roles that are being eliminated within Xbox. Now, the majority of those are probably the 4 studios that she's talking about and the restructures within those studios, but we're going to get into a little bit of that. The other one is that it's actually going to be 3,200 roles. So there's going to be more layoffs in the next several months. Now, I'm not sure what that means. She gives a little more detail down the line, but that does mean that there might be other studios that are going to be affected. Or it's going to be management for my guess, because it does seem that a lot of the rumors that have been coming around from people that have insight is that Xbox has had this issue with middle management where they have too many layers of people actually making decisions, and so it takes several months, if not weeks, for decisions to be made. But let's wait for that and let's get back into what she's saying now. Our business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While the businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened, and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. That is a harsh truth that I don't think a lot of people are ready for. She just mentioned being 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platforms. She's not just talking about PlayStation, she's talking about Nintendo, Steam, other platforms that distribute games to everybody else. Xbox is running a lot lower than them. That is not a sustainable thing that you can run with as a business, especially business trying to make a lot of money. So these changes have been necessary for Xbox, and I feel like everybody, from what I've seen in my comment section and on social media, understand that. But how do you reset that business? She brings that up here. First, we will reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Whoa. I don't think everybody understands just how big that is. There's a lot of little information in there that really brings home what they're trying to do. If you realize what Xbox is saying is that we don't need to be the home for every single publisher or every single studio out there. Maybe small indie games isn't something we should be investing in if we want to grow our platform. That is exactly what she's saying here. And it feels like Phil Spencer for a long time, a lot of the acquisitions were because of smaller studios trying to get these niche titles within Game Pass to flood it. Now they're being far more focused, which we know that's going to happen. And I just want to jump into the studios that are affected. And I have to say, it's not the crazy bloodbath people are expecting to see. Here's what's happening. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP, catalog, and runway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered teams to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is beginning to require a consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. That is so awesome. I mean, I understand that people are going to get really irritated with this, like, oh no, look what they've done, but man, that's not a bad outcome. You have two studios going independent, so they're not shutting down. They are going to be able to do what they need to do. And quite honestly, Double Fine and Compulsion can go do something else. And the big thing is here is that they have runway for their next games. That means they found funding for their next games. So they are able to make something and stand on their own 2 feet instead of relying on Microsoft and Game Pass money, which we've seen they haven't been able to do for a little while now. So we're going to give them the chance to go do what they need to do and be more profitable within this industry. I don't see that as a bad thing. And then you throw in Ninja Theory and Undead Labs entering new ownership, aka they were sold off to another publisher who is going to be funding completely their next games. I think people need to realize that they kind of pulled off a little bit of a miracle with these studios. These studios have not been profitable for years, and they were actually hurting Xbox's portfolio when it comes to profitability. And now they have new homes, they are independent, they are able to do what they want. The games aren't being affected. That's my big thing here is the new runway for their next games. They're not being affected. They're going to be able to do what they want. So the people that like those games can go buy those games, even though we know there's not a lot of people doing that. So I'm not that irritated with this. I actually think this is a very good thing. But she doesn't stop there. There's other studios and other publishers that are going to have some sort of a rework. There's a lot in here. We are also making reductions across other units and in some cases shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reduction. So that's actually pretty good because the rumor mill was running like crazy. We had people talking about Obsidian Entertainment being canceled. That was debunked. We had people talking about Blade being canceled. And now that might not be even happening because that was a publicly announced game. And then we had even rumors of State of Decay 3 being canceled. And again, not happening because they're going to go to another publisher and bring that game out. So people get to enjoy State of Decay 3. All in all, it seems like they made a lot of restructures to kind of understand what leadership is in each studio. What they're doing here right now is fixing their home. They're fixing the internal studios to make sure that leadership within each studio understands the new prerogative that is Xbox. You need to make big games that people want to play. You need to expand the platform. It's much like any other platform out there, be it Netflix, PlayStation, whatever you want. You need to have big IP that you own that people come to for a reason. That is going to be Xbox from now on. It's not about small indies. It's not about being, oh, we're this zany creative that just wastes people's money. No, there's going to be a balance between making big games that people want to play and being creative. Because at the end of the day, this is a business, and that's what they're trying to hone in on. You're going to get the funding. You got to pitch big games. And if we like what you're pitching and we understand that this might have a huge audience, we're going to be rigorous within our internal testing and make sure that the right people are there to make that game. Full stop. I have no problem with that. And they talk about that here. Some of their biggest things in Xbox are these two games right now. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increasingly become platforms and are largest by monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. That's just, everybody knew that. Minecraft's one of the biggest things. King has mobile games, so they're going to report directly. That's a place they want to see where they can expand. And of course they can, because Minecraft's one of the biggest games in the world, and King has these biggest mobile games in the world too. So, not too big. Now, here comes the second part of the reset. We will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. What? Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. Okay, so this is something I've said on podcasts and other areas across the games industry. I do think that there is too many middle management, and I've said this about Xbox. One of the things that was being said across the board at Xbox was that they had way too many people making way too many decisions that slowed everything down, that would have taken people months to do, if not weeks, to make even a simple decision like changing the splash screen on something. And Asha Sharma, since she's been in there, has completely derailed that. She does not like the inefficiency. She does not like how somebody owns something and they're just holding it and they need approvals from 6 other people. She didn't like that, and she's changed it. And having 14 layers of management is insane. One of the big things I've always said about Xbox, and quite honestly, it's the entire games industry, is I feel like there's too many middle management people that are not technical enough to make the necessary decisions that they need to be. I think that a lot of the technical people are stunted because of these people that think they know about tech, but they actually don't know. And they make all these decisions that hurt the pacing of a game's creation. And so I'm actually down for this one. I like that they're going to be taking out a lot of these people in the middle management, because you don't need them to approve things. Just get the technical people, see if they can make it, align with them and say, how long would this take for you to create? And then we'll just go from there. We'll see what the other teams do. Work leaner, work faster. That's what people should be doing in the tech industry. Fail fast, move fast, create fast. That's the whole point. And I know people think that's weird when you say fail fast, but if you fail fast, that means you correct fast. It's a thing a lot of agile groups do, and I know people don't know what that is, but it's basically you work very quickly and you fail quickly, but you also succeed quickly. I think that's Xbox and what they need to do. But let's get back into what Asha Sharma is talking about. We will reduce management layers to more than 5, and where possible 3. We will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals, DRIs, who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. That's pretty cool. Now, the 50% reduced vendor spend is actually pretty big, because that means contractors. That means other people outside the organization. They want to cut that by 50 so they can keep everything internal. So you have SMEs or subject matter experts within the industry that can actually help you create something, and then you have them there and they become that expert within your organization so you can move quickly. And then they can build teams out that move those things quickly. That's the whole point of this. And the layers of how she's trying to go is very agile. It's a very fast moving. It's what a lot of startups do. That means they move very quickly and they're not trying to make things happen over 6 months. It's more going to take 6 weeks or a couple weeks to get some of these decisions out. So that's what they're talking about, individual contributors, and then their managers that are just going to approve things and, of course, be that subject matter expert for executives to understand it. Pretty cool thing. As somebody that's in the tech industry and understands exactly what they're talking about here, that's a really good thing that they're doing, because Xbox does need to move quicker. It's taken multiple years, if not all gen, for some of these studios to make a game, and that is not sustainable whatsoever. But there's still more to this, because Asha Sharma, man, she really went to the she really gave a lot of information to fans that honestly I don't even think that I've seen any technical team or any technical organization do. Here's what she said. Third, we are resetting how we operate. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Team studios and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. For the first time, we are establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Helen Chang has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of the most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring us our business together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our success and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. So, number one, that is something that Jason Schreier has talked about multiple times. And a couple other people within the industry, is that Xbox, all of their divisions had different goals. So when you think about it, Game Pass had its goals, but that means that that goal was not good for another studio or another part of the company. And then Xbox Live or Xbox Network, whatever you want to call it, had their goals, but it might not have been good for Game Pass. And then you had the hardware division that had their goals, but their goals might not have been good for Game Pass and the other It was too muddled up, and there was too much silos across the organization. So when you bring in a chief operating officer, they are supposed to oversee all of that and make sure they have cross-functional goals that they can work together towards. Instead of working everybody in different goals that hurt each other, they're going to have people working together on a single goal. Not single, but multiple goals within the portfolio that you can work on. This is a standard operating procedure across multiple technical industries, and it's something that a lot of tech companies have been dealing with for years. I think a lot of people don't understand how bad that is. This has been going on across the industry, not just Xbox, but the technical industry. And they brought these people in to kind of hone in and focus and be more lean on what they're trying to do, and not to mention hurting themselves at the end of the day, because if everybody has different goals, they might step on each other's toes. That's what this chief operating officer is here to do. Now, let's go into some people that have left the company and retired. Thank you, Dave McCarthy, who is retiring after 17 years with Xbox. Dave has played a defining role in building the platform that millions of players rely on every day, and has been a trusted partner through many of the biggest moments in Xbox's history. We wish him all the best. Now, this is how she wraps it up, though. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before. This year, we will invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity, all in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. I know we can achieve this goal. Xbox has many of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history, talented studios around the world, and we will return to growth in 2027. History is full of companies that mistakes longevity for inevitability. We will not be one of them, Asha. That is insane. That is one of the best write-ups I've seen somebody do. And I have to say that I don't think it's as bad as people think. I thought the studios were going to get shut down. I thought multiple studios were going to get hit. I thought id was going to get hit, and I was getting really freaking angry. But overall, there's not that much here that I don't disagree with. I think that this is actually a huge reset, and it's the start of a reset. Now, there's going to be more layoffs in the next coming months, if not 6 months to 12 months. She's already admitted that, and we'll talk about that when that happens. But right now, as of today, with their first reset, I have to say that I don't think this is that bad. A lot of people were talking about how this is going to be a bloodbath, and this is going to really hurt, and Xbox is going to have one of their worst days. And I don't see that here. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people might not like that answer, but I do not see that. I see Xbox trying to reset and be profitable. And she mentions that they're going to get back to growing in 2027. That means the next 6 months are going to be a whirlwind at Xbox. People need to be prepared for that. I need to be prepared for that. I'm going to be making videos like crazy. They are going to be resetting everything and making sure that by 2027, they see a turnaround in their platform and their portfolios. They want to see Xbox grow. They want to see exclusives do things. They want to see a bunch of things. And some of the stuff like Game Pass, third party, all those things she brought up, I see a huge change in that. Being third party or being a third party multi-platform publisher is not going to work. Having contractors build out a lot of your technical stack and your code is not going to work. They are cleaning up big time, and she is probably one of the right people to do that. And I'm shocked of how fast she's moving for an organization this big. This is a global organization with multiple pillars and multiple studios and multiple everything, leadership, egos, everything. And she's coming in there and changing it completely and saying, this is the new prerogative that we're going through. Either get on board or get out. I'm down for it, man. And I want to know what everybody else thinks, because I think this is one of the best things I've seen anybody in the technical industry do, being very transparent, putting it out there, and then also showing you the steps of what they're going to do and try to execute on it. And those studios that were let go, the studios that were shut down, actually aren't. They're just being independent now, so stand on your own. Hey, man, that's a fair shot. You have a shot to do what you need to do. You could stand on your own. Or they got bought by another publisher where they can publish their game still. I don't see an issue here. But I want to know what everybody else thinks, because this was a long video. There was a lot of information here, and I'm glad I was able to break it all down. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think that Xbox can pull this off? Do you think Asha Sharma is being very transparent? And do you think it wasn't that bad as you thought? I'm glad the CEO spoke out. I'm glad she broke silence and actually came out and spoke about this, because I got to say, it looks like Xbox is headed in the right direction after a very long time of not looking that way. And that's all for now. So if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, helps out the channel more than you know. And you can follow me on Twitter at Zocker87. I'm always on there talking games, sharing articles, and interacting with everybody there. Plus, you can follow me on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, all that, Zocker87. Always on there playing games, currently playing 007 First Light, and going to be starting that Doom DLC because that looks insane. And of course, I start these live streams on Fridays, every Friday at 4:30 or 5 Pacific Standard Time, just to connect with the community a little bit more. Had a really good time doing it, kicked it off last Friday, and I'm going to be doing that every single Friday, just trying to connect with everybody, talking about this stuff, news, everything. So, hope to find you guys there. And that's all for now. And until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.